recreation. If you are new to yoga, I want to give you the reassurance that I won't just call out names of poses and expect you to know where we're going. I will take time to talk about alignment, especially our first few times through poses. This is a Vinyasa based class, so we repeat a lot of the same movements. You'll know we move through the practice in a flow-like sequence. So I'll give a little less direction as we go on. You'll become more comfortable with the poses. I want to remind everyone to always listen to your body throughout the practice. This class can be challenging. Take breaks if you need to. Jump back in when you're ready. Practice for your body and your body alone. And always check with your doctor before you start a new exercise plan. One last thing for anyone who might be new to a yoga practice, I'd like to point out that we end the practice on our back in a final rest period where we lay flat in stillness with our eyes closed. And the point of that practice is to allow the body to reset. We're going to be putting it through a lot of motions. We're allowing the body to absorb all those benefits, and it's also a time to be with our thoughts. We don't spend a lot of time during our day doing absolutely nothing and just being with our thoughts unless we're trying to go to sleep, and that doesn't last very long because we end up falling asleep. Yoga is not just about what we do in our bodies, it's about getting to know ourselves better and self-reflection as well. So I encourage you to try that part of the practice too. We're going to get started laying down today. Start sitting in the center of your mat with your feet facing forward. Place your hands on the back of your thighs and then round your back down easily until you're flat on your back. Separate the feet to mat width distance apart. Let the knees fall in towards one another. Place your arms along the floor at shoulder height, palms face up towards the ceiling. And then bend the elbows into cactus arms or goddess arms. Wrists are in line with the elbows, elbows in line with shoulders. Helping to open the front of the chest. Start here with some deep breathing. Really fill the belly up and the ribs, the chest and the throat, and then exhale out nice and slowly. And take a few full rounds of breath like that before settling back into your natural breathing pattern. We're just gently opening the front of the chest, increasing our lung capacity. If you want a little more sensation in the chest and the shoulders, start to bring the hands together overhead, maybe holding on to opposite fingers. Gently lifting the chin away from the chest, helping to further open the front of the throat. Maybe even grabbing onto opposite elbows. Being careful with yourself though, we're still early in the practice. Body's just warming up. Release your arms down at your sides. Draw both knees in towards your chest, feet side by side. Interlace the fingers and hold below the knees, drawing thighs close to the body. Now gently tucking your chin in towards the chest. If you feel any discomfort on the knees, you can hold on to the back of the thighs instead. Decompressing the tailbone, the low spine. Take a few more rounds of breath here, filling up the sides of the body and the chest. Straighten the left leg onto the mat into Appanasana with feet flexed. Right thigh close to body. You can still hold on to the back of the thigh here as well if you need a little ease for your knee. Leg on the mat is nice and active, pressing onto the floor. Low back presses onto the floor. And release right knee, bringing foot to mat. Extend the left leg up to the ceiling, holding on to the back of the thigh, getting a nice stretch through the extended leg, pressing out through the heel and pressing out through the toes, getting a stretch on front and back side of the leg. You can play around here, pointing and flexing the foot. Maybe making some circles with the ankle, going both directions. Bring left foot to mat. Straighten the legs down the length of the mat. Draw left knee in towards the chest, holding below the knee or on the back of the thigh. Both feet are flexed. Left thigh close to body. Low back pressing to the floor. Send left foot to the mat. Extend right leg up to ceiling. Hold on to the back of the thigh. Pressing out through heel. And switching, pointing out through the toes. Back and forth at your own pace. Making some circles with the ankle. Bring right foot to mat. Draw both knees back into the chest, holding on to the back of the thighs. Start to rock forwards and backwards, gaining some momentum to rock yourself up to seated, and come into tabletop on the hands and the knees, wrists under shoulders and knees stacked under the hips. Round the spine to cat pose, tucking chin to chest, drawing belly in. Then lift and arch to cow pose, gazing up towards the ceiling, letting belly hang to the floor. Again, rounding spine, cat pose, chin to chest. Lift and arch, cow pose, holding here. Let's add some circles to this movement. So circle the hips down as you round the spine back to cat, and we'll circle them up, back to cow. Spine is arched. So it doesn't matter which direction you start with, just stick with one direction for now, trying to roll the body, circle the hips, in and out of cat-cow. It might take a little coordination. Don't feel pressure if you're not moving smoothly. As long as you're moving the body, that's what's important. And then we'll switch and go opposite direction. Maybe try closing the eyes if that helps you focus on the movement and stay present in your body. Start to slow down your movement until you find stillness back in your tabletop position. Lift up to the tips of your fingers. Extend your right leg behind you. Point through the toes. Heel in line with hip. Draw the belly in towards the spine. Draw the right knee in towards your chest for a crunch. Round the spine, lift the knee nice and high, then step or place the foot into lunge. Building some strength here. Ankle is right below the knee. Foot's in between the hands. Draw breath in through the nose as you lift right arm up to ceiling. Pause and exhale here. Forward foot stays flat to the mat. Thigh stays close to belly. Lifting right ribs up to ceiling, gazing up to ceiling. Breathing into chest. Option to challenge your balance by lifting up to the very tips of the left hand that's on the floor. Then slowly lifting the arms up to shoulder height, right into twist. If you challenge yourself by floating left hand off the mat, bring the fingertips back down to the floor. Everyone bring right fingertips down to the floor. Extend the forward leg long behind you. Point through the toes and return to a tabletop position. Stay up on the tips of your fingers. Extend the left leg behind you. Heel in line with hip. Draw the belly in. Give me a crunch. Knee to chest. Round the spine. Draw belly in. Then step or place your foot into lunge. Ankle below the knee. Draw breath in through the nose, lift left arm up to ceiling, pause and exhale here. Foot stays flat to mat. Gaze is up to ceiling. Optional to challenge your balance by lifting both arms to shoulder height. Energetically draw the thighs towards one another to help with balance. Bring the right hand down to the mat if you lifted it up. Everyone bring left fingertips down to the floor. Extend your left leg behind you. Point through the toes and return to a tabletop position. Plant your hands flat to the mat. Lower elbows down to the mat into puppy pose. Elbows stacked under shoulders, palms face down. Let the head hang heavy. If you'd like to create or increase sensation in the shoulders and the chest, totally optional, you can stay right here. Try walking the elbows, inching the elbows forward just a bit, turning thumbs face up towards the ceiling. Hollow out the armpits by engaging the shoulders, head still hangs heavy, core is engaged. If you inch the elbows forward, walk them back in so they're stacked underneath the shoulders. Turn your hands, palms face down. And everyone settle into child's pose, bringing hips all the way down to heels and resting forehead on the mat. Finishing our warm-up with a few moments of stillness here. If you're uncomfortable on the knees or the hips, you can return to puppy pose with elbows and knees to mat. You're more than welcome to stay there and take that for your rest position today. Whichever position you're in, focus stays on the breath, filling up the sides of the body, now the back side of the body. Bringing your attention to any sensations you're starting to feel or any thoughts that started to cross your mind about the practice or otherwise, just being present in your moment. Slowly meet me back in tabletop, spreading the fingers nice and wide. Tucking the toes onto the mat. Lifting the knees a few inches off the mat, engaging the core. Keeping knees bent, send the hips up to ceiling into down dog. Pressing belly back towards your thighs, gazing between the feet. Pressing heavily into pointer finger and the thumb, hollowing out the armpits, engaging the shoulders. Low belly's drawing in, heels are reaching to the mat, even if the knees are bent to keep the legs engaged. Hips stay reaching high. We're working here today. You're welcome to take other variations if you're familiar. Everyone look forward, shift the weight forward, and step or place your right foot into lunge, ankle below the knee, lifting up to tips of fingers, sending chest forward. Stepping up to half lift, feet hips width distance apart, hands to shins, back is flat. Take a moment here. Gazes down towards the floor. Shoulders draw away from the ears. If you have a little more flexibility in the hamstrings, you can try bringing hands or fingertips down to the floor. If you notice that your spine started to round even a little bit, bring hands back to shins and keep working here until you're ready to take it further if you wish to do so. Lower to forward fold, gently bend the knees, drop ribs to thighs. Let your arms and crown of head reach towards the floor. Weights heavily in balls of feet, heels stay touching on the floor. Low bellies drawing in, hips stay reaching towards the ceiling. We want a nice closeness between belly and thighs. Bend those knees a little bit if you need. The purpose is to protect the low back, keeping the spine long and muscles engaged. Tuck your chin in towards your chest and slowly round the spine up to a standing position. Take your time. Let your chin come up from your chest last. Stand nice and tall at the top of your mat. Turn your palms face forward and relax your shoulders down the back. Root down through the bottoms of your feet. Extend tall out through the crown of your head. Take a breath or two here. Slowly lift both arms overhead. Gaze up towards the ceiling. And lower to forward fold, bringing hands together, lowering them down through heart center, hinging forward from the hips, dropping ribs down towards the thighs, crown of head reaches towards the floor. Shake the head yes and no a few times in this forward fold to help relax the neck. And rise to half lift, keeping fingertips to floor or hands to shins. Step your right foot back into a lunge position, left knee stacked over the ankle. Lower right knee down to the floor and uncurl the toes, top of foot to mat. Draw breath in through the nose, slowly lift both arms overhead, deep breath into the chest. Exhale out through the mouth, fingertips return to floor. Step back into a tabletop position on your hands and your knees. Lean forward for chaturanga until shoulders pass the wrists. Then bend the elbows, keeping them close to the body to lower your chest down to the mat, and then the hips. Tops of feet to floor, elbows pointing up towards the ceiling. Press your hips into the floor. Draw your belly into your spine as you lift your chest off the mat. Baby cobra, gaze is up. Then press into child's pose, hips to heels and forehead to mat. Rise up to a tabletop position. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Tuck your toes onto the mat. Lift the knees off the mat, engage the core, send the hips up into downward facing dog. Belly presses back towards the thigh. So down dog is a total body stretch. We're working a lot of muscle groups here. It is a challenging pose. You can skip down dog anytime during the class if you need, and then jump back in when we're moving on. Totally up to you. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the practice for yourself and yourself only. Look forward, shift the weight forward, stepping or placing left foot into lunge, lifting up to the tips of your fingers. Step up to half lift, hands to shins, back is flat. Lower forward fold, ribs to thighs, crown of head towards the floor. Tuck your chin towards your chest, around your spine, up to standing. Nice and slow. Take your time. Once you make it up to standing, stand nice and tall. Root down through your feet. Slowly lift the arms overhead. Gaze up to ceiling. Return to forward fold, dropping ribs down towards the thighs. Rise half lift, flatten your back. Step your left foot back into a lunge position and lower your knee down to the mat. Draw the breath in through your nose, lifting both arms overhead. Exhale, fingertips down to the floor. Step back into a tabletop position. Plant your hands flat to mat. Lean forward for chaturanga, shoulders past the wrists, bend the elbows close to body, chest comes down, hips come down. Totally welcome to skip chaturangas as well. Get down to your belly however comfortable, if that's best for you. Press your hips to the floor, lift your chest, draw your belly in, baby cobra. Press to your rest position. Child's pose, hips to heels. Slowly rise back to tabletop. Spread those fingers nice and wide, tuck toes onto mat. Lift the knees and the hips up to the ceiling, down dog, belly towards the thighs. If you'd like to find a little bit of movement here, you can straighten one leg at a time, switching sides, feeling the sensation that creates in the legs, maybe the hips. Look forward, step or place your right foot into lunge, sending chest forward. Stepping up to half lift, flattening your back. Lower to fold, belly drops down to thighs. Tuck chin into chest and round up to standing. Once you make it up, stand nice and tall at the top of your mat. Find length all the way out through the crown of your head. Deep breath in, arms overhead. As you exhale, bend the elbows to goddess or cactus arms. Elbows in line with shoulders, palms face forward. Deep breath in, arms extend back overhead. Exhale, forward fold, belly to thighs. Rise half lift and flatten your back. Step your right foot back into lunge, bringing fingertips to floor on the ball of the right foot. Hands come to your forward thigh, lifting chest, lifting arms overhead into high lunge. Left knee stays stacked over the ankle, hips stay square towards the front of the mat. Take a couple breaths here. Open to warrior two, turning to face the right side of the mat. Right heel rotates and connects with the mat. Arms lower to shoulder height. Right foot's facing the long edge of your mat. Left foot's facing the short edge. Gaze is out over the left hand. Standing up tall from the hips, not leaning forward or back. Hips and shoulders facing long edge of mat. Straighten the forward leg. As you reach towards the front of the mat, send your hips to the back of the mat and find triangle pose, lifting right arm up to ceiling. Lifting and twisting ribs up to ceiling, gaze is up. Resist the urge of using your left hand on your leg to prop yourself up. Instead, use your core, pressing back towards the spine. As if someone grabbed you by your upraised hand, rising back to standing. Returning to warrior two, forward knee bends, right over ankle. Windmill the arms down into lunge, lifting right heel off the mat. Step back to a plank position and lower knees to tabletop. Find chaturanga, leaning forward, shoulders past wrist, elbows close to body, come all the way flat to the mat. Deep breath in, lifting chest, baby cobra. Exhale, child's pose, hips to heels. We're going to pause here for a short rest period. Attention comes back to the breath. Maybe you feel slightly different sensations in your body now than the first time we came to our child's pose and had a few moments of breath here. Inhale as you rise to tabletop, and exhale to downward facing dog, hips up towards the ceiling. Totally welcome to find that movement, straightening one leg at a time. Step your left foot into lunge. Inhale as you step up to half lift, flatten your back. Exhale, forward fold, ribs to thighs. Inhale as you round the spine up to standing. And exhale at the top, standing nice and tall, root down through your feet. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, goddess arms, elbows bend, opening the chest. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold, belly to thighs. Rise, half lift, flatten your back. Step your left foot back into lunge on the ball of your foot. Bring hands to the forward thigh, extend your arms overhead, high lunge, holding here, not holding the breath. Open to warrior two, left heel makes contact with the floor, arms lower to shoulder height. Looking out over right hand. Straighten the forward leg. Reach to the front of your mat, hips towards the back of the mat, side bend into triangle pose, left arm up to the ceiling. Inhale as we rise back up to standing. Exhale, warrior two, knee bends. Windmill the arms down to lunge, lift left heel off the mat. Step back to plank position, drop the knees to tabletop. Lean forward into chaturanga, lower all the way down, flat to mat. Deep breath in, lift your chest. Exhale, child's pose, hips to heels. Another rest period here. Let the body hang heavy on your mat. And take another few rounds of breath. Inhale to return to tabletop, and exhale, downward facing dog, hips up to the ceiling. Last down dog of the class. If there's any movements you want to put into your body, I suggest you do so now. Take a deep breath in through your nose, exhale out through your mouth. And step your right foot into lunge. Step up to half lift as you inhale, back flat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale as you round the spine up to standing, and exhale at the top. For balance poses today, we're going to work on standing head to knee again this week. Start with all the weight in your right foot. Ground that foot down to the floor, put a tiny micro bend in your knee, and engage your thigh. You should feel the muscles around your knee lift. Stand nice and tall, engage your core. Interlace your fingers in front of you. Bend your opposite knee, raising it up to meet your hands, holding onto the knee. Once you have a hold, find a lift from the chest. Drop shoulders down the back, and we're holding here. Keep your gaze focused on one point, something that's not moving. If you struggle to hold your balance here, you can work just lifting the toes a few inches off the mat and lowering them down through the remainder of the exercise. If you want to challenge yourself, try taking the basket of your hands, bringing it to the ball of your foot. Still standing up nice and tall, still engaging your core. Micro bend stays in the standing leg, chest stays lifted. Breath is steady. If hand is on the foot, bring it back to the knee. We'll all step our foot down to the mat and bend the knees, give that standing leg a break. We're going to switch all the weight into the left foot now. Engage that leg, tiny micro bend, turn on the thigh. Interlace the fingers, opposite knee bends, hold on to the knee, or lifting and lowering, whatever works for you. Chest stays lifted though, whichever position you're in, and core engaged. We're holding here. If you're challenging yourself, take the hands to the ball of the foot. Keep standing up tall. Keep engaging your core. If hand is on the foot, bring the hand back to the knee, and everyone step your foot down to the floor, bending the knees, giving the standing leg a break. Find some stillness, rooting down through your feet, standing nice and tall, just like we've done many times before. Deep breath in through the nose, lifting arms out at your sides, up overhead, gaze is up. Exhale out through the mouth, arms sweep wide down at your sides. Breath in through the nose, arms overhead. Breath out, arms down. Last time, breath in. Exhale, forward fold, belly to thighs. Hang out here. Maybe find a gentle sway, rocking side to side, using the strength of your core. Shaking the head yes and no, maybe helping relax the neck. Allowing gravity to lengthen our spines. Inhale as you rise half lift. Exhale as you step back into plank. And hold here. Don't hold the breath for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All the way down to the mat.
Arms along the sides of your body, head turned to one side so you can rest on your cheek. Let the heels fall out to the long edges of your mat and wiggle your shoulders away from ears. Deep breath in through the nose as you exhale out through the mouth. Let everything go onto your mat.
Gently turn your head to the opposite side. Getting a nice stretch on both sides of the neck here. With heels falling away from one another, we help relieve the low back, release the low back. Maybe gently wiggle the hips side to side. Bring your chin to the mat, place your hands underneath your shoulders, and press yourself into child's pose, hips to heels. Slowly make your way to a comfortable seated position with your legs extended down the length of your mat. Take your time, I don't want you to feel rushed. Sitting in the center of your mat, facing forward, legs extended, feet flexed. Once you've found that seated position, lift both arms overhead, lengthen the spine, engage the core, drop chin to chest, round the spine into rounded back stretch, lowering hands to the knees and pointing elbows out to the sides like elephant ears. Shoulders relax down the back. And try to deepen the breath here, using your breath to ease any lasting tension around the spine. Slowly start to lengthen the spine back to the ceiling, rooting down through your sits bones, extending out through the crown of your head. Bend your right knee, planting your foot on the mat. Use your left arm to hold onto the bent knee. Open into twist, twisting towards bent knee, placing free hand directly behind you, gazing out over shoulder. Spine stays long towards the ceiling. Gazing to the back of the mat. On your next exhale, unwind and face center. Straighten your leg onto the mat. Left knee bends. Right arm holds on to bent knee, opening the twist, placing free hand directly behind you. Use your exhale to unwind and straighten the leg onto the mat. Bend both knees so feet are planted on the floor. Place hands on the back of your thighs and ease yourself down till you're on your back. Extend your right leg up towards the ceiling. Cross the ankle into figure 4, crossing it over left knee. If you look down at your legs, it should look like an upside down 4. This might be enough sensation in your hips here. You're more than welcome to stay here. If you'd like a little more sensation in your hips, float the left foot off the mat, flexing the feet, ankles in line with knees. You can thread your hands through the legs, holding on to the back side of your left thigh for a little bit of support. Keeping back flat to the mat. Gently tucking your chin in towards your chest. Gently release, returning both feet to the mat. Left leg extends, crossing the ankle into figure 4 over right knee. Option to stay here or float right foot off the mat, hold on to the back of the thigh. Feet are flexed so legs are engaged, ankles in line with knees. Gently release, returning both feet to mat. Draw both knees in towards the chest, interlacing the fingers, holding below the knees, drawing thighs close to body. And placing hands on the back side of the thighs and extending both legs up to the ceiling into our inversion. Hands are on the back of the thighs for support. We're going to hang out here for about 45 seconds. If the legs start to feel a little restless or you need some ease at any time, you can gently bend the knees, drawing thighs closer to body, keeping heels elevated. Still getting all the benefits of the inversion, helping to induce relaxation, helps to calm our nervous system. This is a great pose to take at the end of the day, maybe before bed. You can prop your legs right up on the wall. Let all this fresh oxygenated blood come towards our heads. Bend the knees into the chest, lower heels down to body. Release your arms onto the floor at shoulder height, palms face up. Let the knees fall to the right side of the mat into reclined spinal twist. And head gently turns to the left. This is our last pose before our final resting pose. Perfect time to close the eyes and start to prepare the body for stillness. Start to relax the muscles in the face. Separate the upper and lower jaw. Drop your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Relax the muscles around the brow. Slowly draw knees to center before letting them fall over to the left and turning head to right. Slowly draw the knees back to the center of your chest and draw your thighs close in towards the chest. Slowly lift your head to meet your knees. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold the breath at the top. Squeeze the body nice and tight into a small little ball, compressing the body. As you exhale out through the mouth, release your hold so you can lay flat on your mat into final resting pose. Eyes are closed. Spreading the legs and arms nice and wide, taking up as much space as you can. Palms face up to ceiling and toes fall away from one another. Take a deep breath in through your nose as you exhale out through your mouth. Let everything go onto the mat, melting onto your mat. Focus comes back to the breath. Don't work to change the pattern of your breath. Just follow its natural, repetitive rhythm. Imagining that every exhale moves you deeper into relaxation. Every exhale relieves tension from the mind. If your focus has wandered, bring your attention back to your breath. Allowing thoughts to come and go as they please. Begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Welcome movement back to your body. Slowly roll over to the right side of your body and take a moment of stillness on your side, using your arm as a pillow, supporting your head. Keeping your eyes closed or your gaze lowered to the floor, slowly press yourself up into any comfortable seated position. As always, to finish class, we'll take 3 cleansing breaths together as one. That's breathing in through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. Today we'll add movement to our breath. We'll exhale round the spine, dropping chin to chest. Inhaling, lifting and arch the spine, tilting head up to ceiling. So that we're all together, let's exhale, pressing all the breath we have out of the body, rounding the spine, dropping chin to chest. Breathing into the nose for 1 as we lift and arch the spine, tilting head up to ceiling. Exhale out through the mouth, round the spine, chin to chest. Breathing in for 2, nice deep breath, slow movement, lifting chin from chest. Exhaling, rounding spine, chin returns down. Last time, breath in, full deep breath. Exhale, full deep exhale, chin to chest. Return to a neutral seated position and quickly give yourself thanks for taking this time out of your day for this practice, for being patient with yourself. I'd like to thank you for letting me lead you on this practice. There is a light that exists within me that honors and respects the light that exists within each and every one of you. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the class. If you did, there's a new version of this class that is aired every week, every Thursday. If you're looking for something a little more challenging, however, I do teach a core yoga class that's aired every Sunday, structured much the same with core targeting exercises thrown in. I want to thank you guys again for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you next week.